at our first example. So example 1 says to graph the hyperbola and then identify the vertices, foci, and slope of the asymptotes. Alright, take a look at the formula. The formula here has an x squared minus a y squared, so that minus is telling me that this is a hyperbola. I notice that x squared is first. I know that the x-axis goes left and right, which means that my hyperbola will open to the left and to the right. Alright, a squared is always under the first, and b squared is always under the second. So x squared is first, so I've got a squared under that. A squared is 9, which is going to make a equal to 3. B squared is 36, so b is equal to 6. Alright, the center. The center is at 0, 0 because nothing is added to x and y. So I'm going to put my center right at the origin. Now I'm going to count left and right 3 because the 9 is under the x. So go to the left 3 and put a dot there, and then go to the right 3 and put your other dot there. Now those dots we just made are actually the vertices. So now I'm going to go up and fill those in. So I've got -3, 0 and +3, 0. Alright, now b is just how far up or down it is because y goes up and down. So I am going to go up 6 from the vertex, 6, and then I'm also going to go down 6 from the center. I think I said vertex before. I meant to say center. Sorry. Alright, with these I can go ahead and make a rectangle. So I'm going to make a rectangle out of these points. Alright, so there's the rectangle. Now remember, this hyperbola is going to open to the left and to the right. I need my foci. So my foci I'm going to find by using the formula a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So 9 plus 36 is c squared. 9 plus 36 is 45. These are not necessarily going to be nice. So c, which is just the distance from the center, is 3 radical 5, or about 6.7. So from the center, I'm going to go to the left, 6.7, so about right there. And I'm going to go to the right, 6.7. Remember, the focus is inside the curve. Now, in order to make the curve, I need asymptotes. Oops, I forgot to list where those foci are. Alright, so the focus on the left is at -3 radical 5, 0. And the one on the right is at +3 radical 5, 0. Alright, asymptotes. Now to make these asymptotes, you start at the center, and you're going to go up to one corner of the rectangle you made, and you're going to go down to the other rectangle. So what I'm going to need to do with that one first is find the equation of that line. It's just a y equals mx plus b. So y equals the slope. Now the slope went up 6, and it went to the right 3. So 6 over 3. X plus b. b is 0, it crossed at 0. So actually that asymptote is y equals 2x plus 0. The other asymptote goes from the center to the other corners of the rectangle, and that formula will be y equals -2x plus 0. You don't really need to put the plus 0, so the asymptotes are just y equals 2x and y equals -2x. Alright, last but not least, we need our hyperbolas. So I go back to the vertex, make sure you start at the vertex, and get really close to those asymptotes, because remember, the asymptotes attract the curves. Alright, let's try another one. Here we have an equation that is not equal to 1. So first thing I need to do is divide everything by 16, and then reduce this. I've got y squared over 4 minus x squared over 2 is equal to 1. Notice that the y squared is first, so this is going to open up and down. The curve is going to be going up and down. A squared is always first with hyperbolas. B squared is always second. Alright, the center. The center is at 0, 0 because nothing has been added to the x or the y. If there were numbers there, you'd have to be careful because the y squared is first. Alright, so go ahead and put your center on your graph. Now, I'm going to know how far up and down by finding a. Well, a is just the square root of 4, which is 2. So I'm going to go up and down 2 to find my vertices. So my vertices are at 0, 2, and 0, negative 2. Alright, I can go ahead and find my b now. B isn't going to be quite as pretty because b squared was 2, square root that. B is radical 2, or about 1.7. So I'm going to go to the left 1.7 and to the right 1.7. Remember, that's what's going to help me make my rectangle. So if you want to go ahead and make that, there's my rectangle, and that's for the asymptotes. Alright, to find the foci, we need to use the formula a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. A squared was 4, b squared was 2. Add those together and you get 6. So c is the square root of 6. That's not very helpful, so the square root of 6 is about 2.4. So remember, the foci are always inside the curves, so I'm going to go up 2.4 and down 2.4. Because the focus has to be inside the curves, and the curves are going up and down. Alright, so these ordered pairs are radical 6, 0, and negative radical 6, 0. Asymptotes. Again, you make these by going from the center to the corners of the rectangle, and you need to write these equations. So remember, y equals mx plus b. M is the slope. The slope went up 2 and over radical 2. So y equals radical 2, y equals 2 over radical 2 x. We can't really keep it as 2 over radical 2 because we don't want a radical in the denominator, so multiply top and bottom, so you get 2 radical 2 over 2. Those cancel out. So the slope is just radical 2. So y equals radical 2x, and y equals negative radical 2x. I'm running out of room. Y equals negative radical 2x. Now you need your hyperbolas. The hyperbolas go from the vertex, and they get really close to those asymptotes.